Happy Monday. This is your intuitive guidance counselor, James Mitchell, and today's video is going to be your cards for the week. So, I've taken my tarot deck and I have separated it into 3 different piles, and each one represents a different aspect of the week. So the first pile here is the 22 major arcana cards, and the major arcana cards are the ones that tell us what the big lessons are, the spiritual influences, the psychological factors. Usually, from a spiritual perspective, this is your lesson, your journey for the week. So this first card is going to be from the major arcana, and it's going to be representative of what the theme is for the week. The second pile are the 16 court cards. Now, court cards represent people in tarot, and it could be people that are connected to you and your situation in some shape, form, or fashion. Some of them can also represent news or some kind of event or some kind of action that needs to be taken. I tend to look at the court cards in a different way. For me, I call them approach cards. So this position represents what kind of approach we might need to consider for the week going forward. And then taking that in terms of guidance or advice, then the last pile of cards are the minor arcana. And so the minor arcana usually represent the 4 aspects of our lives. Wands represent our business or career life. Swords represent our mental life. Cups represent our emotional life, and then the pentacles represent the physical or tangible or material aspects of our well-being. And so we have a card here that represents the most likely or probable outcome for the week, giving that if you take the guidance or you take the approach, then this is the result of following that approach. And so let me talk a little bit about the most likely or probable outcome. In tarot, my belief is that nothing is written in stone. My role with tarot and how I think tarot as a tool is, it gives you information so that you are better prepared to either make the choices that you need to make or take the courses of action that you need to take. But you totally have the power of choice, whether you're going to do it or not, and the free will to either take the action or not. So this is like an energy snapshot. It says, like, if you stay on the path that you're on, this is the most likely outcome. But if you decide to change your mind or take a different course of action, then of course you're going to produce a different result. So I always like to say that because some people, when they're experiencing a tarot reading, they think that things are fated to happen, and that's just not my particular belief. So having said that, these are the 3 cards. One, again, the major arcana card representing the theme, the court card that represents the approach we're going to take, and then the end result or the most likely outcome from the minor arcana. So our first card is the theme, and this is the Wheel of Fortune. Now, the Wheel of Fortune is a card that represents that the theme of the week is a major turning point. So this card is about cycles and patterns. So we're being encouraged with this card to start paying attention to the repetitive cycles and patterns that we find ourselves in. Now, this card is also about things changing for the better, but I tend to look at the Wheel of Fortune as an opportunity for us to examine the ups and downs of life. For some of us, we may be in a great cycle, and for some of us, we may not be in a not so great cycle. And so, depending on the cycle that you're in, you'll see the upswing or you'll see the turnaround. So if you're going through a good cycle, with life being what it is, all good cycles come to an end, and sometimes you experience a not so great cycle. And if you're in a not so great cycle, then there's going to be an upturn, and it's going to turn into a better cycle or a more fortunate cycle. So it's asking us to pay attention to life's ups and downs, and also to with that, it could be, for some of us, it's about being on an emotional roller coaster. I tend to see this as sometimes we spin our wheels, and so a nice visual for that is about the hamster who's in the wheel, just running and running and running, and you're taking all these actions, or you're spinning your wheels, and it's not producing anything. You're not going anywhere. So there's that aspect of that. But the Wheel of Fortune is asking us to really, really pay attention to that. And if you're spinning your wheels, you might be saying like, stop the ride, I want to get off. And so, but the only way you can do that is to be paying attention to the cycles and the patterns that you're experiencing. As a coach, when I'm working with people, I always say, if you want to make some changes, you have to pay attention to the pattern. It's about interrupting the pattern and breaking the cycle. But in order for you to do that, you have to be aware of what the cycle and the pattern is. This card is also about opportunities, and it's also about being in the right place at the right time. So I said, paying attention to the patterns of life. A great pattern to pay attention to are those synchronistic events. Those things that just you couldn't explain any other way. Some people look at them as coincidence, some people look at them as fate or destiny, but it's really, really a synchronistic moment. And so that's when the universe is really putting you on notice. But we have lots of synchronistic events and we just kind of brush them aside and we don't give them the credence that they sometimes really, really need to have. So, but this card is all about paying attention and paying attention to the cycles and the patterns, and that this is an opportunity for things to be changing for the better. I personally, as a tarot reader, like this card because on the wheel it has T-A-R-O, and if you make one complete revolution all the way around, it spells tarot. So as a tarot reader, I always get excited to see that. So this is the Wheel of Fortune, so that's our theme. Now moving on to the next card. Again, this is the court card that's going to represent our approach to the week. This card is the Queen of Swords. So now swords as a suit represents lifestyle and lifestyle changes. It also represents, like I said before, our mental activity. What are our thoughts? What are our ideas? This card is also about communication and either a system or a process. So we're looking at all of those things. Now this particular queen, she tends to be the cynic of all the court cards in tarot. She has experienced lots of trials and tribulations and sorrows. I talked in the Wheel of Fortune about the ups and downs in life. She has really seen more of the downs in life. And so as a result of that she has tended to be jaded or, have her experiences of life colored by all those things. So it could be like, but what thoughts and what beliefs are you contributing to the experience that you have? If you're, expecting, bad things to happen, or that, life sucks and, you're always going to get an experience that's challenging, that's hard, that's difficult, well, life will respond to that because you're putting that thought energy into that. I like around her that she's got 3 butterflies. Butterflies is a symbol of transition. It's a symbol of transformation, of metamorphosis, but it's also really, really, in a word, it's about change. And the fact that there's 3 around her, 3 is a number of commitment. So you have to be willing to commit. And commitment means, commit your mind, your body, and your spirit to that process. That's fully committed. You're committed on all aspects of being with that. So this card is asking us, be mindful of what thoughts and beliefs are you having that are participating in creating the experiences that you're going through. And, again, I said it's about breaking the cycles and the patterns. Well, the only way you can do that is to see the thoughts that are participating in that creative process. She's also a card that represents getting to the truth of the matter. So this is the only way you can really, really get to the truth of the matter. So we're being encouraged, by the approach is to see what thoughts and beliefs we are creating or we're having or we're holding that are participating in that experience of the ups and downs, especially if you're feeling like life sucks and you're continually in a downward cycle. Okay, so now if you do that, this would be the end result. So this is from the Minor Arcana. Okay, now this is a very, very fortunate card. This is the 6 of Wands. The suit of Wands, I said earlier, is about our business life, but it's also about intention and the actions that follow the intentions that we set. So this is a great card to say, okay, now you know that the thought is really, really the intention, and the experience is what follows the intention or the thought. So if you do that, if you really, really take the time to examine your thoughts and the beliefs and asking yourself, why do I believe that? and the only way you can have a new experience is to have a new thought about it. This card is all about breakthrough. This card is about reward, recognition. The man on the horse has people around him that are cheering him on. So this is about support. And it might not be support in, the physical world where, we have people around us who are supporting our efforts. It could be that, support comes from spirit or the universe. And, again, it works either for us or, and I'm using finger quotes here, or against us. Because the universe just supports whatever thoughts we have and follows that energy. So again, the 6 here is a number of choice. We always have a choice in everything we do. So it's about, we're choosing to think that thought, so we can also choose to have a new thought. We're choosing to hold on to that belief for whatever reason, and we could choose a new belief. But this card is really, really about achieving a breakthrough. So I'm very, very excited to see that at the end. Okay, so doing a summary, the theme is Wheel of Fortune, which is a major turning point. The idea is to pay attention to the repetitive cycles and patterns that we are experiencing in life. And this is an opportunity for us to really, really change those patterns if we want to. Then the next card is the Approach, which is the Queen of Swords. Again, this is about really, really taking the time to examine our thoughts and beliefs and letting go of the ones that are no longer serving and supporting us. All thoughts support us and serve us for a time, but it doesn't have to be a forever kind of thing. At some point when we're ready to change, then we need to have the thoughts that will correspond to the changes that we want to see. So she's about examining and then eliminating those thoughts that are no longer serving and supporting us. And if we do that, then the end result is that we will have a breakthrough. We will see some form of support from the universe. And that will be a great sign of encouragement. One sign, like I said before, that would be a great sign of encouragement is those synchronistic events, those synchronistic moments. So sometimes what happens is when we make a declaration, then we will have a moment that validates and supports that declaration. So again, this is about achieving a breakthrough and life, you seeing that being recognized through what you experience in life. Now, again, this is about action. Wands is a suit of action, so you're being supported. Like, you have to take some form of action here. It's just not going to happen you just sitting and just thinking about things. There has to be some corresponding action to go along with the thought, because they go hand in hand. Intention and action go hand in hand, so you have to have an intention and a declaration, but you also have to have a corresponding action that supports that. So those are the cards for the week, and I hope you enjoy this. This is a new thing that I'm doing. I know lots of people, post card of the week videos, and I wanted mine to be a little different from what I normally see on other people's channels and videos. And so this idea came to me while I was driving, so I was inspired. And so this is the first time doing this. If you like it, let me know. And I will be back next week with 3 more cards in the same fashion. So hope you have a good week, and I'll see you next week.